Kakadosh Boker Tov. We're continuing on Daf Kaftet 29, Daf Yomi Masechet Succah. We're just going to start the Kafchet Amubet, just the last lines where it says over there, Menan and Mile, how we're talking about how do we know that you have to put in the beautiful, whether it's utensils and all the different things inside of the Sukkah. So Menan Tanu Rabbanan Basukot Teshavu Ke'en Shetaduru. What does that mean? You have to dwell in the Sukkah just like the way that you're going to live in your houses throughout the entire year. From here we say, all the 7 days, all the 7 days you're going to do your sukkah fixed, and your dira, you're going to do it arai, which means not fixed. That means your house becomes your sukkah, and your sukkah becomes your house. If you have beautiful utensils, you bring them into the sukkah. Matzah now beautiful, we're talking about the sheets, cover, right, all these things. Ochel v'shoteh u'mtayel. You do all these things, whether you're going to eat, drink, you're going to be mitayel. In the sukkah, meshaneh b'sukkah, and you're going to learn in the sukkah. So says the Gemara, no. Right, says the Gemara, any is it so? V'amar Rava says, mikra u'mitzra, b'metalata, b'tanui bar mitzalata. He says, no, only if you're going to read Chumash, or you're going to learn Mishnayot, which is very, very simple, very quick, there you do it inside of the sukkah. But if you're going to learn, right, and you were talking about serious learning, you're doing it outside of the sukkah. So says the Gemara, you're right. La kashya, it's not a question. It all depends whether it's just going to be stam to be gores, right? If you're just stam, just learning like this, you're being gores. So that girsa, you don't need a lot of thought. So if you don't need a lot of thought process, so then that you could do inside of the sukkah. But if you're going to be by unit, mamash to go in depth, right? No, but you're right. You're going to do mamash layen, that you're able to do it inside your house, right? Why? Just like in Kaftet Amud on the top, it says, just like Rav Rami Rechama, they said, when they were in front of Rav Chasta, at the beginning, they used to shoot through the Gemara, and afterwards the Ma'ayin, which means many times, by the way, this is the way that you're supposed to learn as well. A lot of times I remember, right? Yeah, it says, what do you mean by that? You're supposed to come here, but you need afterwards the yun. Yeah, which means it's true. Daf Yomi was like that. What does it mean? It means you first go quickly, and then afterwards you start being mayen. I remember there was somebody that he came and he started doing pipul on the Gemara. He was going back and forth. He started asking a question. He was stuck for half an hour, 45 minutes. The answer was 7 lines down. You understand? But why? Since he didn't look at it, so therefore, there were 45 minutes going back and forth. But just continue. Sometimes just continue, and then you'll get the answer. Sometimes it's on Rashi, on Amud Bet, things like that. It all depends. So the same thing. So Amar Rava says, you're allowed to leave all these types of kosot, for example, cups. You're allowed to leave in the sukkah, even after you use them. However, though, for foods, that bar mintalalta, you're not allowed to leave it inside of the sukkah. Chatzva v'shachil bar mintalalta, right? Any type of a jug of cheres, of earthenware, which you're going to take out water, or a dli, right, of etz. Also, after you used it, you have to leave it outside of the sukkah. Ushraga min talalta, but a net of cheres, you're allowed to put it inside of the sukkah. Now, usually because net of cheres usually becomes disgusting, usually afterwards. Okay? That's why it's actually. So now it says, right, ve'amrila, some people say, that this net shel cheres, you have to take it outside of the sukkah, v'lo pligin, it's not an argument between them. It all depends whether it's a big sukkah or a small sukkah. Yardu geshamim. Imagine right now if it started raining. So we said, Tana, we learned that the second that already a type of a food of beans will start getting destroyed, so then you're allowed to take it outside, which means that remember that the second that the food is getting ruined, that's when you're going to come and you're going to start taking it outside. Remember that by sleep, it's less than by eating, which means that by eating, right, a person will be able to withstand rain more than sleeping. Sleeping, even a little bit of rain, will already take a person out of the sukkah. But if it's eating, it has to be mishetisrach hamikpah. Abaya v'kiyati v'kamed Rav Yosef v'talalta. Abaya was sitting in front of Yosef in the sukkah. Nashar zika v'kamaita maiti tzivuta. So all of a sudden a ruach came, and all of a sudden some kesamim, some different types of, these are kesamim in English, small little tiny picks or whatever you want to call them, from wood, pieces of wood, from the schach, they fell on top of the food. So Amar lehu Rav Yosef, says Rav Yosef to his students, Panu lo mane mahacha. Let's take out all the utensils from here. Amar le Abaye tells him, that's now we already learned, Shetisach hamikpah. Amar le ledidi, kevan danina datai, since I'm so finicky, I'm so picky, so therefore, so for me, it's already enough. Why? Because I'm very, very picky. So since I'm very, very picky, even if it's going to be a smaller amount, it didn't have to be as a mamash until the food was getting ruined. even smaller amount was already going to be enough. Tanu Rabbanan, we also learned in a Braita. Ya'ochel b'sukkah v'yardu geshamim v'yarad. Right? Imagine right now, a person's eating the sukkah. It starts raining, and then what happens is, yarad, he went outside of the sukkah. So they don't have to actually, they don't obligate him to come back in, because once he took everything out and he started eating, there's a whole question, does he have to actually start eating? Right? There's a whole question in the halacha. If you want, you could check up over there. Does he have to actually start eating, or he just emptied the sukkah? Right? But for sure, if he already started eating, they don't bother him again to come out until he finishes the sudah. The same thing. If he was sleeping in the sukkah, it started raining. He runs inside the house. He starts going to sleep. They don't have to come out. You don't have to wake him up or tell him, no, that's it. You have to go outside again. That's it. He's able to stay indoors. Now the Gemara is going to ask the following question. So the question is, when it said here, ad she'or, ye'or is with an ayin, or ye'or is with an aleph. What does that mean? Right? Doesn't mean that we're not going to come and obligate him to come until he wakes up again. But according to this, if he woke up in the middle of the night, he's again obligated to go outside of the sukkah. Or ad she'or with an aleph, which means ad she'or or with an aleph is the night, light time. What does light mean? Light is alot hashachar. So tashema ad she'or v'yaleh amud hashachar. He said mefurash ad she'or, but here you can't make a mistake with an ayin or with an aleph ad she'or or she'or, because he says v'yaleh amud hashachar. It says mefurash until amud hashachar. So tarte, so it's mashma that it's going to be both. What does it mean that it's going to be both? The two zmanim are sotrim echad et hasheni, right? Why? Because once amud hashachar comes in, there's already or. Ela ema, but rather it says ad shior v'yaleh amud hashachar. It's not shior. It's not two different times. It's the same thing. Ad shior mishinato, right? Until he gets up from his sleep, shior with an ayin v'yaleh amud hashachar, and now it's going to become amud hashachar. Okay, fine. However, though we said that if it's going to rain in Sukkot, it's siman klala. Why is it siman klala? Because we said it's a mashal to an eved that he wanted to give a cup to his rabbi, and then what happened was his master came and he threw it in his face. Yeah. So what happens is so they're going to ask the following question: Mi shafach lemi? Who's throwing it on whose face? Is it that shafach at the kiton on the eved, or the eved shafach kiton on his master? So he says, Tashema the tanya shafach lo rabo kiton on panav amalo ifshi b'shimushcha. No. The master threw the cup on his face and he told him, I don't want anything what you're doing now. Okay, that's why. So it was really the master throwing it on his servant. He says, I don't want you to serve me. Right?
This one's only at the time of eating, or it's of eating and sleeping, or it's like during the day and the.
It's probably mashma during the time that he's actually using it. He's using it.
When you're using it, when you're eating. No,
when you're eating or when you're sleeping, yeah. 100%. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in a Braita. Bizman shachama loka. Right? Siman ra lechol haolam kulo. This is actually, there was a famous Chavetz Chaim on this, right? That he once spoke about this when people were coming and were saying, you know what? Let's come. We're going to look at the eclipse. He went and he said, the Gemara Mefureshet. The Gemara says in Masechet Succah, it's a siman ra lechol haolam kulo. What are you going? It's a bad omen. It's a bad siman, and you're going to, you're being all excited. Yeah? I'm being excited. Yeah. No. Here you're talking about that's be a katachama. It's once every 20 years. No, not be katachama. There's shachama loka. There's an eclipse. Right, we were talking about when the chama, the sun rejuvenates itself. When it starts again its process, it's completely different. So siman ra lechol haolam kulo. So it's a bad siman to the entire. So there was a king that he made a seudah for his children. So he put a light in front of them. Ka'as alem. He got upset at them. What did he do? Take away the light, leave them in darkness. Tanya, we learned in the Braita, Rabbi Meir says, you should know that any time that the sun, the moon, any of the me'orot, they're going to get hit with an eclipse, it's actually siman ra for the enemies of Israel. Again, it's a euphemism for Bnei Israel themselves, but we don't want to say it on themselves, so it's for ourselves. Because they are melumadim, right, in their makot, meaning Jews are hit more than any other nation. So we know what makot are, right? So therefore, if somebody's lokeh, it means that we're the ones that are going to be lokeh.
For 2021, we already had 2 eclipses compared to 2026.
Bemet?
Yeah. So this is going to be a better year.
Okay.
Because for the goyim, it's not for us.
Yeah. Mashal is sofer. So then we said there was another mashal for this is talking about somebody that's going to be sofer. Sofer is melamet tinokot, somebody that teaches children. That's why kinat sofrim taber chokhmah. Also, sofrim there is we're talking about melamet tinokot. Shebal bet sefer urtzo biyado. He's got the whip in his hand. Yeah, chasra. No, the olden days he used to have the whips in their hands. The teachers. So midueg, who's going to be afraid? The one that's always going to get the lashes, he's going to be the one that's being afraid of this. Okay?
She said that they didn't hit you, Rabbi.
So now it says over here like this. We learned to the Braita. So now, if the Chama is Loka, so then it's a Siman Ra for the Goyim, because the sun is how they use their solar calendar. Levana, if it's going to be the Levana, which is the moon, so it's a Siman Ra, the Son actually says, so then it's for us, because then, obviously, we are the ones that use the lunar calendar, right? So therefore it's a Siman Ra for the enemies of Yisrael. If it's going to be in the morning, which means that the sun is going to be in the east, Siman Ra Yoshua Mizrach, so it's bad for the people that are living in the east. The Ma'arav in the west, Siman Ra Yoshua Ma'arav, so then it's for the people that are living in the west. Be'emtza, if it's going to be in the middle of the firmament, Siman Ra L'chol Kol, so then it's for the entire world. Panav domin ledam. What happens now if it becomes the red? I forgot how it's called, the red sun or something like that. There's a red eclipse. We had pictures last time. You remember? When we said that all of a sudden the sun, it looks very, very reddish. So he says if it's going to be domin ledam, so then it says here, cherev bala olam. So then there's going to be wars, right? That are going to come to the world. Lesak, if it's going to be like blackish, so then it's chitzer ra'av bain olam. So then it's going to be drought. It's coming to lazu. If it's going to be also reddish and also blackish, cherev v'gam, it's going to be both. Lakabe knisato, if it was going to be during the shekia time, right? So then it's puranut sho'alavo. It's waiting to come. It's going to be when it's coming out in the morning. So then, mimaheret lavo, it's coming very, very quickly. Some people say it's the opposite. You switch it around. Okay, fine. But you could look at it all the time. There's a whole bunch of pictures and everything of the different things. If you want, right afterwards, we'll look at the pictures from the book. Yeah, the red eclipse. Right. When? It was recently, no? May. There you go. Okay, we have it there. If you want, 1 second. Then it says in the Gemara, there's no nation that's going to be hit if their God is not going to be hit as well. So therefore, first, the God is going to be hit as well, not only just ourselves. That means, first of all, that means it's the God with the nation. So that's why, how do we bring the proof from Mitzrayim? Mitzrayim was hit, so to the gods of Mitzrayim were also hit. However, though, when Jews are doing the Ritzono Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's nobody that could, we're not worried about nothing. Why? Shnema, but it says in a pasuk, "Ko amar Hashem, el derech hagoyim al tilamdu, me'otot Hashem techatu, ki echad hagoyim yehema, right? Of deko chovim yechatu, v'ni Yisrael yechatu." Only the goyim are going to be afraid, but we're not going to be afraid. Meaning, as long as we do the tzonot shel makom, doesn't matter what's going to happen. You could have eclipse, the red eclipse, the black, whatever you want. You could have anything. Doesn't matter. Okay? We learned in the Braita, there are 4 reasons why the sun will actually have an eclipse. What is the reason why the sun will have an eclipse? If there's an av betin that he passes away and he wasn't eulogized properly. On a girl that she was violated in the city and nobody saved her. Right? That means basically she was being violated. She was screaming that nobody saved her. On mishkav zachor, on promiscuity of
homosexual activities.
Exactly. Or 2 brothers that were killed at the same time. Right? Lokin. Now there's another 4 things that the yareach, we're talking about the sun, the moon, and the stars are going to be hit. Al kotfe plastar, on people that are falsifying documents. Ve'al meidu to do checker, or people that are falsifying testimony. People that are growing be'emadaka, right, in Eretz Yisrael. Ve'al kotzei lenotovot, people that are cutting down fruit trees. 4 things about the properties of Baalei Batim, they're going to be given over to the kingdom, right, to the government. If you're going to leave over a document which is already paid and you have to get rid of it, and you didn't get rid of it, so it's going to, you're going to lend out, right, with interest. 29b. Right? If you had enough time to rebuke and you didn't rebuke, right? Or people that they come and they start giving to the rabim and they don't give it. That means people are going to come and they say, "Yeah, I'm going to give it to the I'm going to give it to the but they don't give it, right?"
No, these are for the auction, Rabbi.
Yeah, exactly. For the auction. By the way, you should know that it happens a lot. It happens a lot in a lot of the
if people would know what happens the moment they say something and they don't pay.
Exactly, 100%.
It's amazing. They create an angel, and if that angel didn't finish its mission, is all
even
the time
thinking was the second that you said that you're going to give tzedakah and then you thought the amount, so now becomes a problem, right? That you have to give it. So Amar Rav says, sometimes they come and they're going to be destroyed. The properties of Baalei Batim. Amen. If you're not going to pay a worker, amen. Or you're not going to. The first one was you're me'akevet tashlum. You're not going to pay him at all. Amen. Sorry, the first one is that you're being kovesh, which means you're taking time, and you're not paying him on time. The second one is you're not going to pay him at all. Amen. Right. The other one is that you're going to take it away from yourselves and you're going to give it to somebody else, which means you're porek all on yourself and you throw it on somebody else. Many times that happens. For ourselves, we're very no, don't worry. For him, yeah, don't worry about it. Amen. I remember somebody once said, no, but you have to have emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So because of Kilu, the emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for him, he has to have emunah. For me, I don't have to have it's all the same, you understand? Amen. Gasut ruach, and on gasut ruach. Gasut ruach, which is the haughtiness, is gasut keneged kulan. It's actually opposite all of them. Aval ba'anavim, but to do with people that are humble, it's written, anavim yishuaris v'tanegol rov shalom. The anavim, the people that are humble, they're going to inherit the land and they're going to have rov shalom adonach hayashem. Let's just do the Mishnah, okay? So the Mishnah on Kaftet Amud Bet. Remember, it's still Kaftet. Technically, we have to do everything. So the Mishnah. It's a new perek, a new Mishnah. Okay. This is now perek sheni. It says lulav gazul. So lulav gazul vayavesh pasul. Any lulav which is going to be stolen, or if it's already dry, it's going to be pasul. Shel asherah, if it's going to be from an asherah tree. Remember, an asherah tree is a tree which is being served as avodah zarah. Shel ira nidachat, as the entire city was doing avodah zarah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Right? V'shel ira nidachat, or the ira nidachat, which is basically an entire city which they're serving idols. Pasul is also going to be disqualified because what happens? We're going to disqualify it. Niktam rosho, if they're going to cut the head of the lulav, right? Cut off the head. Yeah, ISIS time. Right? Or right, it started splitting, right? The alim are the leaves, right? It started splitting. Pasul, it's going to be pasul. Nifredu alav, but if it wasn't that, it actually separated, but it was going to be nifredu, which means that it's separated. It's still going to be kosher, right? Rabbi Yehuda says, you just make an egg on the top, just tie it on the top, and as long as you tie it on the top, it's going to be okay. We're going to see now the pictures. Sineh hara barzel. When we're talking about these types of dekalim, which is called sineh hara barzel, it's going to be kosher. Now, why? Because even though they're very, very small and it's not very long, their leaves, it's still going to be kosher. Lulav sheish bo shlosha tfachim kedei lenirbo, and a lulav that has 3 tfachim in order to be menanea is kosher. Remember, 3 tfachim is nothing. 3 tfachim is 24 centimeters. Mamash, you're talking about the small little tiny thing there, but it's already kosher. Okay, let's just see the pictures before we continue, and then we can continue with the Gemara. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to share the screen.
What is where is the lulav that has short leaves? No está ahí. And the one I have at home, it has. It looks like
okay. This is the Amud Aleph, Kaftet Amud Bet. Okay, so here it is. Let's start Kaftet Amud Bet. Yeah, the Nifretzu Alav. So let's start from the beginning. So here it says the first picture. Oh, there's tons of them here.
Yeah, he brings a lot of
yeah, we have a whole bunch of pictures here. Okay, Kaftet Amud Bet, the first one, Lulav Shatonanim. No, okay, fine, this one. So Lulav Yavesh, this is when it's dry. Okay, so in this case where it's going to be dry, if you could just look over here. So the first one is Lulav Yavesh. This is the first one, which is going to be a dry Lulav. It's dried out. How do we know it's dried out? So Tosafot says, when you touch it with your finger and it cracks. That's what this picture over here, right? Now the next one is Lulav Yavesh, according to that the majority of them became dry. Okay, so now the next picture is Lulav Yavesh, continue going, Niktam Rosho. So Niktam Rosho means this one where it got cut off by the head, right? Again, also Niktam Rosho. You see over here, right here, it gets cut off, right? This is the next one, Niktam Rosho, according to the Okay, all the niktam roshos. Basically, it's cut off its head. Now, it says over here, in the case where...
It's amazing how many examples they
Yeah,
bring.
they bring for the same thing. The different lishon. Okay, this is nifetzu alav, where basically it's all separated from the bottom, and you have to tie it together. Okay, nifetzu alav, the same thing. Okay, nifetzu alav is going to be kosher, and then it says over here, yagdenu milamala. What does that mean? You just tie it together up here. Over here, you just tie it together. So that's what a lot of people they do. They tie it together. Now this is the tzine harabarzeh, which was very. If you see that it's very very short. Right here, you see them? They're very very short. These are they're very very short going upwards. Okay, and we just said as long as it has 3 tefachim, it's going to be kosher because we need the bottom, and you have 1 tefach which is sticking out on the top. So that's what's going to be kosher. Okay, and then we're going to learn Bezrat Hashem kapasik b'tanya. So Bezrat Hashem, what we're going to do is